Welcome, welcome, everybody. This is Crack the Code, the podcast. I'm with my homie Roman. That's my host right there. And tonight's special guest, the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Paul E. Niemeyer in the house. Yes.
He owes me money.
Right off the bat, right away.
You know where he is? Because that guy owes a lot of money.
Yeah, Paul, what's going on, man? How you doing, man? How you doing?
Doper, right? Yeah, the whole damn show's all in the doper already. I mean, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, man. But yeah, well, how you doing, man? You doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm on the road a lot. I just got back from Oregon. I did the Border Town Con. That was a fun con. I'm heading to Augusta, Georgia on Friday, and then the weekend after that, in my own backyard, C2E2. I've been petitioning them for a couple of years. I finally got an invitation, and I'm at booth Y12 in Artist's Alley. Throw a little plug in there for myself.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of stuff. I started a mural in my hometown last fall. I got it half done. I'm waiting for the weather to break to finish that. I'm involved with a 100th anniversary of Route 66 bench painting program in kind of one of the local towns here in Lock. And so I'm painting one of the benches, and my bench, it looks like the front end of a '57 Chevy pickup truck. It's bloody cool. It really is. Yeah,
wow.
It's like such fun projects. Yeah, I'm really having a ball. I really. I got a couple of sculpts going on right now. I'm sculpting Beavis and Butthead laying on their backs, holding up a 4-foot diameter glass table. It's a commissioned coffee table.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah. Actually, a friend of mine. I don't know if I should. I'm not going to say whose name, but I do a lot of shows with him, and he saw a picture of it. And he goes, "Dude, can you sculpt this?" I sculpt anything. I went, "You got money?" Well, yes, he did. So sculpting I am. Yeah, making Beavis and Butthead down in my basement. And then after that, I've got a 4-foot tall baby Pac-Man, and then a Ms. Pac-Man, and I just finished a Super Pac-Man that was 4 foot tall.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of sculpting. I sculpt a lot. I do a lot of sculpting for like theme parks and escape rooms and haunted attractions. I used to own a haunted house here in Chicago back 2006 to 2014, and when that all ended, I found myself in the prop making business because basically I'm a cheap ass, and I'm just gonna make, you know what? We'd go to the convention and we'd check out all the props for the haunted houses and the price tag. Geez, and look at that thing. And like, oh, first of all, it's made like crap. I gotta make this way better. And that's what we did, and usually it was like, first of all, I can improve on that design in a huge way. And so we never actually made what we saw. It was just kind of a lightning rod to generate the impetus to kind of generate other ideas. And we started building our own stuff, and I learned how to use, coatings and what coatings were good for what, and et cetera, et cetera. Before I knew it, I had this vast knowledge of sculpting, mainly just to make my own props. I didn't have any ambition to start a prop making business, but it just kind of found me. Much like most of my career, it found me. I didn't pursue hardly anything. The only thing I really pursued was to get that job at Bally Midway back in 1982, and after that, everything else just kind of like showed up. You know?
Yeah, man.
Which job was that in '82 that you got?
Oh, okay. I was fresh out of school. I was working at a sign shop on the southwest side of Chicago, and a buddy of mine was looking for a job. And I was getting a little restless too. I'd been there long enough. I'd done everything I could possibly do, and it wasn't challenging at all. It was just making signs, you know. Uh, so a buddy of mine was looking for the paper, and he said, calls up and he goes, "Man, your dream job is in the paper, Valley Midway." Because all I could talk about was, man, someday I'm going to be a pinball artist, man. That was my big dream, was to be a pinball artist.
That's
And to date, finally, like 3 years ago, I finally became a pinball artist.
oh man, that's cool. That's cool though. Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of video games, ton of board games and card games, every kind of game possible except pinball, you know. And I came close. Okay, I shouldn't say I was involved with the design work for Demolition Man back in what, 97 or whatever the hell that was.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
the movie?
Yeah, the pinball machine.
The pinball.
Pinball game.
Yeah. So I was very involved in that whole design process, and yeah, that all went south when Wesley Snipes didn't like his portrait I painted.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Seriously? What was wrong with it? What was wrong with it?
Oh, well, it wasn't anything really wrong with it. The thing is, you know, I used all of the photos that the studio sent over. You know, I'm definitely not going to wander off the ranch here. I'm a team player. You send me the photos. This are the photos I'm using. So anyway, there were some photos of Demolition Man. He's this crazy criminal guy. So there was those great shots of uplighting and him going, you know. So I'm like, yeah, baby. So that's what I painted. Anyway, and I swear to God, in the laundry list of stuff that he wrote, you know, the first one was, "You made me look crazy."
Oh.
Have you seen the movie? You should watch your own.
Yeah.
Movie. You're pretty effing crazy, as I recall. It makes me want to go get 3 clamshells and contemplate how crazy you really were. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you know, we all kind of laughed at that, but it wasn't funny because he was serious. You know.
Yeah.
And the story is as such. My good friend and brother in arms, Doug Watson, he wanted the hat trick. He had already, you know, illustrated Schwarzenegger, and he had done oh my God, why can't I think of his name? Jeez. Indiana Jones, for Christ's sake, help me.
Harrison Ford.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a freaking senior moment that was. Ouch. You're editing that out, right? No, probably not. God damn. Anyway, he wanted to do Stallone, you know, because he'd already done those 2 guys on pinball, you know, and he was the creative director at you know, at the time, and Linda Deal was working on it, and then he just got so bogged down with it, he had to kind of like shuffle it off to her, and he was like heartbroken. You know, he wanted to do Stallone so damn bad he could just taste it. You know, especially after doing Ford and what is the other guy? The other guy.
Schwarzenegger.
Right, yeah. Right. So, I'm being funny now, or attempting. Anyway, so Linda was working on, but she was bogged down with some other projects that she had to get done first. So now he's looking around and he's thinking, I'll bring Paul in to do the comp work on it. We'll send that out to Hollywood, get it approved, and then if things move smoothly as they probably should have or would have, then I guess if nobody else is available, Paul's doing the final artwork. So I had a shot at it, although it was a narrow one, but I still had a shot at it, you know. So I busted my ass to do that. That comp work. It was practically a finished illustration, because I wanted it bad. So I went out to LA. It was Sandra Bullock's first movie, so she's not going to make any waves. She gave the old thumbs up, and I remember I heard that when it came back, Stallone had written, "Oh, nice," But when I was told that, what I heard was noise. Was noise.
That's accurate.
Right. I mean, I was like, oh, okay. Hey, thanks a lot. You're my guy. And then we get the Snipes. And okay, then the laundry list. So you heard the first one. You made me look crazy. And the other one was, why is my head smaller than Stallone's? Because it was. Because it was foreshortening. I have Stallone in the front, and then I had Sandra Bullock and Snipes on the sides, just slightly smaller to give the perspective. And then there was a huge, explosion, big orange bubble ball of flame behind him, framing the whole thing. Oh, it was glorious. And
it sounds amazing.
No, so I got a router, so I don't have it handy. Anyway, so anyway, long story short, he kind of made them go back into the studio and reshoot all of his shots, all of his headshots. Yeah, they reshot everything. Took 2 weeks of time. In the meantime, Linda got done with her job. God bless her, and she did an amazing job of it. She is an incredible talent. I only knew her peripherally. We just met casually a couple of times. I never really knew her very well, but I just know her work, and her work is amazing. And she pulled off that. But if you ever look at the pinball art for Demolition Man, look at Snipes' face, because it's huge. It's huge. It's bigger than Stallone's. It's the biggest thing out. It is the biggest element in the whole thing. And instead of looking crazy, he's got these bedroom eyes. Hi there.
Oh.
Come hither. It's Wesley. I swear. I saw that and I went, oh, poor Linda. She got to deal with that shit. And she nailed it just like the art goddess that she is, So, I mean, that went well, but it was, I thought that I was thinking to myself, well, finally, I'm a pinball artist. No, not so much, And then it was, oh my God, almost another 20 years before I even got another shot at it. So, and here, my only published pinball art is actually sculpture. It's not even 2D art. I sculpted the Odin in his throne and the gates of Valhalla and a pile of skulls for Legends of Valhalla, American pinballs. Okay, about 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. I lost track. Yeah, so, somewhere around in there.
Okay.
That is literally my only published pinball. So I finally, got my college dream, came to fruition. I was finally a pinball artist. Finally.
Yeah. Hey, you know what's crazy? Real quick, before we take a step back to the Bally Midway job, but that Demolition Man pinball machine sells for like $8,000.
Yeah, it does.
Holy shit!
I know. Yeah, crazy.
Wow.
I have a base of them.
But you're right. Wesley Snipes' head is just his head. It's huge.
Isn't that funny? especially now that you know the story.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah, if you would just look at that, you think, some PR firm, was paid off by Wesley and then punch that all up. No. Now you know what really happened.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, so the standing joke after that was, yeah, well, I got back at him. I called the IRS. It was me. Don't have me killed, Wesley. It wasn't me. I was just joking.
Oh man.
There's a knock at the door. I gotta go get that whole.
But yeah, man. But yeah, so so yeah, let's take it back. How did the Bally Midway job happen, and what did that um lead you into? Like as you had
Oh,
mentioned,
yeah,
as you had mentioned, a lot of the things found you. You didn't really find them, but
yeah. But I found that one, and boy, it changed my whole life. I have thought about this a million times. Like if I had not been there to take that phone call, or somehow that didn't, get that information, how things would have been so different. Because really, my entire life, or my professional career, hinged on that moment of getting that job at Bally Midway. Because um, when I did get that job, I was low man on the totem pole, and I was blended in with the art gods from Bally who'd done all this pinball art. So there's like these six seasoned illustrators, and me just as green could be, but eager and a little talented, and had a couple of clues, and I knew to watch and learn and shut my mouth, and and put myself in a place to be noticed. Um, Got an interesting story about. I just got told. I'm telling you at the show in Oregon this weekend, and I call this story "Spies, Lies, and Video Games." Okay. Um, Back in the day, when we were working at Bentley, and I worked there from 1982 to 1984, and like I said, got blended in with this huge, the great art department with all these illustrators, Doug Watson and Margaret Hudson and Tony Ramone and Pat McMahon and Greg Ferris was kind of our overseer, and our boss was Paul Ferris. I played his pinball games in college. I was like addicted to him, and all of a sudden he's my boss. He's my boss. Oh my God, I'm like fanboying at work, although we didn't call it fanboying then. But anyway,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it was so cool. I'm working with all these cool people, and then the reality of working with all these cool people dawned on me. I was like, oh, I gotta hang here. These cats are the shit. I gotta get this shit. I gotta get that shit. And I remember going home and like just practice figure drawing and doing robot. Like I'd work like after I got home. I worked for another couple of hours just sketching, sitting down, watching TV just to get my chops up, because I knew the competition was so fierce, and I just wanted to get good, and I learned off it. I'm telling you, those 2 years, 82 to 84, they were that was the most formidable years of my life. I learned more those 2 years than I probably did in the entire lifetime. Just from being around all those other great artists and looking over their shoulders and just hanging and sharing, and it was great. It was just this energetic experience. It's just life changing. Okay, so okay, while Bally Midway had hired the dream team of artists and also the dream team of programmers up on the second floor. They still had it hardwired in the back of their heads that Bally Midway's success came from Japanese games, and they're not wrong, because it was Pac-Man and Space Invaders, and those are Japanese games, and they put them on the map. They happen to invest in the, because quite honestly, Midway was a little electronics company that was started in somebody's garage, and they stumbled on some great investors and said, boom, Bally saw that happen, and they went, come on over here, and became Bally Midway, And okay, when I was hired there, God, our first office was in the gallery with all the test games and the experiments, and also all the little stupid doohickeys that the engineers had made. They made these little machines that would press buttons like a million times for it to. Okay, you can imagine the din. There's like 30 of those machines, bang, doing levers, punching, whatever. Oh my God, we would wear headphones to just cancel out the din. And that was the first 2 months I worked there, and I was almost like ready to call it. I couldn't take it anymore. But we were moving into the new building, the brushed aluminum, black glass, thing that they built. In fact, we nicknamed it the House of Pac Built. Pac-Man, oh man, so that was the thing. They were just flush with Pac-Man money. This is 1982. So Ms. Pac-Man had come out, first spin-off game in the history of for anything, and and I ended up doing the spin-off games, Super Pac-Man and Pac-Man Plus and Professor Pac-Man. All three of those spun off of, and the only reason I did that is because I was the new guy in the art department there, and everybody was like, I don't know the artwork on a spin-off game. Nobody's gonna remember this stupid game. It's gonna last 5 minutes. Let him do it. Okay, but Eager Beaver. Hey, I'll do anything. I will do anything to get my face. Get Paul Ferris to notice me or something. Because these guys all came with pedigrees. I came with gosh, I hope I'm get to stay till next week. And here's the thing, like the first couple of months I was there, 2 guys got canned because they just kind of weren't cutting it. So that left quite the message too. Oh, hello, this is what happens if you're, kind of slacking or whatever. I don't even know. I don't know what the situation was, but when 2 people are gone at the same time.
Yeah.
Something fell apart. So, okay, anyway, back to spies, lies, and video games. So now they are just obsessed with taking fistfuls of money and going to Japan and throwing anything at it, a game. If it even halfway looked like a game, it got money thrown at it. They bought some real dogs. And the reason I know this is because all those dogs came across my desk because in my effort to be noticed, all of those games needed to have American graphics on them for them to go out and be play tested. And we'd put them in like Aladdin's Castle or wherever, play test them for 2 weeks and see if they had any, any grit. So they had to have some kind of American, because they came with all Japanese, that ain't going to fly. So we always had to Americanize everything up. And boy, some of them, they'd come in and they'd say, hey, the machine's out on the loading dock. Just go take the header off of it. Just don't even, just go right down to the dock. Take the header off, bring it in here. You got 2 hours, to come up with the name of the game is Zodiac. I threw some shit together, and I had a morgue file that had all kinds of crap in it, like dinosaurs and robots and whatever the hell, whatever you needed, monsters. And they're like, what's in the game? Well, there's some robots. Robots, good. Big. I had 2 robots. I had 1 robot, and I just flipped it from the other side with Zodiac. It goes out, slap it on there, out the door it goes. So that was a regular thing. Boy, like a couple hours, bing, bang, boom, out the door. I got real fast, real good, and that pretty much made me the fastest gun in the West that I used as a weapon to go get work at the ad agencies when I got laid off. More, I made a killing. So back in the video games. So now they're going to Japan. They're buying all these games. So somewhere along the way, a spy, a real spy, not a game spy or a game company spy. I mean, like a international espionage spy, got word about what was happening and cleverly was piggybacking clandestine information onto the hard drives of the games that were being brought into the country because nobody was looking at them. They were just games. Okay? How crazy is this? And since we had a small army of independent contractors that were coming and going through that place, even though the security was really tight. I mean, I remember having a 4-digit, card, or had an access card that had a magnetic strip on it. It's 1982. I don't think magnetic strips were on credit cards for like another 10 years. It was cutting edge technology. We didn't even know what the damn strip was for years. I was like, really? That's what it was? I don't know. Yeah, seriously. Okay. Every month they changed the 4 number code or whatever, to get in the building, and it changed monthly, So that kind of security, you still had a small army of independent contractors coming and going. Didn't even notice them anymore. Oh, guess what? We didn't even notice them anymore. They could come down and download the information off the machines that their Confederate on the other side of in Japan piggybacked onto it, and they had this great little spy ring going. Okay. Now you're wondering, how do I even know this information? Well, that's a good question. Because apparently they shut that whole thing down and nobody knew about it. Nobody knew anything about it. Well, one day while we were working, the door, my desk was right by the door too, so I had the full brunt of whatever came through the door. Door comes out, and this cute little blonde, 5 foot nothing, smart gray business suit, steps in and announces as she flips open a badge and says, "Customs agents, push away from your desks." What? And then two shaved gorillas in black suits came in behind her. And I was like, what the yeah, this is the real deal. And customs agents and badges and real, like in the art department at the pin video game, what? Brain processing not happening, what's going on? And and literally just did a walkthrough. Now, I don't think anybody in the rest of the department heard any of that transaction, so it didn't mean anything for them. A woman and two guys in suits walking through. That was like a Tuesday. That happened all the time, so nobody thought anything of it. But I was the one that heard the entrance thing. All right, so now fast forward to my exit interview. When I'm leaving, I was the first one let go because I was low man on the totem pole. And actually, they did me a favor. They let me go at the beginning of April, and all the ad agencies were starting their Christmas stuff. I had a ton of friends in the ad agencies. I literally was gone on Friday. I was working freelance at the ad agency on Monday, making triple what I'd made at Bally, only to realize just how badly they'd been screwing me all along. Okay.
Damn.
Yeah. So, but anyway, back to the exit interview. Paul Ferris, the best boss on the planet ever. Anytime I was a boss, I would model my boss stuff, whatever that. I would model it after Paul. He was just the nicest guy. He always fight for us. Like, oh my God, the time that I got in trouble for putting my initials in the game. We weren't supposed to do that, And he came down after the ivory tower had reamed him over it, and he came down to talk to us. And instead of reaming us, he said, "You guys got to get sneakier. You got to hide it better. Those assholes are finding it." Yeah, he was just the coolest guy ever, coolest boss in the world. Right. So when he's a tough guy. He's a wrestling coach, bodybuilder, but so here's this tough guy sitting at his desk with tears in his eyes, letting me go because I was the first. I'm sure he got toughened up after, but I was the first one. So he was really emotional, and we were way geared for it. Unfortunately, every Friday for like 2-3 months before that was Black Friday, and you'd go across the hallway into the factory, and there'd be 50 people gone. So that message got sent every Friday became Black Friday, and then the office, at that point, the people in the office like, oh, it's just a matter of time, So it became when my time came. So he's letting me. And he's got tears in his eyes, and I'm telling him, hey, I'm gonna be good. Don't worry about it. I got some connection. I'm like explaining to him how I'm gonna be okay. Don't take it so hard. Wait a minute, who's leaving? You feel worse than I do. Yeah. Maybe now after all I think about it, maybe he was envious. Yeah, you get to go. I gotta put up with So I got to leave, and so we had a nice conversation that day, and I always felt that there was a great respect he had for me, and he made me feel I really have faith in myself, especially when he gave me like Satan's Hollow to do, like I said, I was the youngling on the crew, and he let me do a whole game all to myself. And all my artwork, I was 24 years old, and he trusted me with it. And man, that meant the world to me back then. And it changed me. I realized he really believed in me. That was something. Okay, so now back to this moment. I'm leaving. I got the door open, got my hand on the door, and he says, "If there's anything else you need, anything you want, any questions you have about anything," and I'm walking up, going, nah. Wait a minute, yeah, that day with the blonde and the badges and they came through. Remember the customs agents? And he got real, and he goes, "Close the door." What? He goes, "Close the door. It's close the door conversation." Okay, close the door. And then he told me everything that I just told you. That all of that was going on, and they had actually busted the whole crew, and none of us knew any of it. They did a really great job, boy. Whoever was in, it came and it went and it was ended, and nobody even knew when he was telling me, and like he was like swearing me to secrecy. You cannot tell this story. Well, I mean, it's been 40 years, so it's good. But but at the time, he was just like, you cannot let this out. I'm trusting you. I'm really trusting you. Please do not. And I was like, okay, you're scaring the crap out of me here. Okay. So then we had a little moment, and I said, okay, but that doesn't exactly explain why they came in, especially since it was all over when they came in. What was that about? Well, turns out they figured none of that could have happened unless they had, some kind of Confederate on the inside them. And they thought that one of the employees was probably that person. And that must have been the one key that they didn't find that they were still looking for. So we kind of thought they'd go old school and walk in, flashy badges, gorillas, suits, and see who shit their pants. That was the plan. Walk through the departments, make a big show of it, and see who shit their pants, who was shaking in their boots, who was wiggling in the chair, who looked like this is it, man.
Yeah.
And to be honest, the art department, we're a bunch of 12-year-olds. You gave us 5 minutes to dick around. We're making, paper airplanes with razor blades on the front, on the tips of them. We're dangerous in a way, but not in the way you're thinking, okay? So they came and they went, and that was the end of it. And none of us were a suspect, and I don't believe they ever did find anybody. But that was the whole 411 on that. I couldn't believe it. It was right out of a bad spy movie. It was pretty crazy. So yeah, nutty stuff happened at Bally Midway. That's for sure.
That's crazy. Roman, you got something?
My very first week there,
Oh,
I don't even know who it was.
well,
I'm still trying to figure out who everybody is, and this one cat's walking around like he owns the place, and obviously he does because everybody's like, "Oh, hello, Mister. Oh, yeah, let me get the door for you." So, I'm like, get to know that guy, and so Friday he's like, "See you Monday," and on Monday I get to work, and everybody's like, "What's going on?" I asked. And it turns out whoever that guy was had cleaned out his files and had shown up at Atari on Monday morning. Oops. So my very first week there, like a major player defected to Atari. And boy, the security clamped down immediately. They brought in an ex Chicago sergeant, for like it was like he was head of like one of the precincts, one of the old school precincts. We take him in the back room and get the old confession right out. That guy, he was head of security. And when I first started, I made a mistake of parking my little Triumph Spitfire in his spot, not knowing it. That's how I know I got to meet him. Yay!
yeah.
And if you ever heard that ballet had mob ties, well, that's not true at all. Not at all. There's some serious mob ties. I remember one time we were supposed to get a walkthrough inspection, from one of the people from corporate. Well, corporate was in Vegas. I swear. And the thing is, we were so close to O'Hare Airport that the jets would like shake the building as they were coming in for a landing. Like the runway was like a couple blocks away, literally. So we're that close to the airport. He shows up in his big old stretch limo that he they rented for a 5-minute ride. And he is a Goomba. He's a mafioso to the max. The suit, the bulge in the like. Oh man, yeah. I mean, Sopranos wasn't out yet, but think Sopranos. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
that's who showed up for the walk around tour. It was an interesting place. So anyway, I'm just going on and on.
Yeah.
You guys have any specific questions here?
Yeah, I was just wondering, like Satan's Hollow and some of the cabinets you've done, like, do you provide the artwork all the way around, even just everything where the buttons are and all of that stuff, or just like the side panels?
Well, it all depends on okay, like for Satan's Hollow, yeah, it was the whole thing, and with
You did
that,
the whole panel for that? That's very
yeah.
striking. Satan's Hollow was
Oh,
very.
thanks. Oh, thank you so much. That was literally my very first game that had all my artwork on it. I was
Yeah,
24.
that's amazing. Yeah, that's an amazing piece you did.
And it was kind of funny at the time. I I really wanted to be part of the gang, like because all the Bally people, they all knew each other from Bally, and so they came over there like, hey, yeah, that was great. We did that. One of them was a musician or guitarist in a band, and they all get together and they go see the band, and they're all talking about the gig, and so they take a little knit group that I was kind of, a satellite on the outside of, trying to figure out how to get in there. Um, so when this came along, there was a certain amount of peer scrutiny, and boy, I feel the pressure, because boy, nobody seemed to be interested in what I was doing before. Now everybody's kind of making a little visit, kind of, hey, what's going on? That's good. It's good. Okay, check it out. See you later. You never came by before, and you're looking now. Okay, Well, I'm kind of like, okay, I'm getting it. So, I did the artwork, and I only had like 3 colors to work with, so I had to be really creative with that, and like the panel was red, so I just used the red, and I
I
think
was gonna say red, yellow, and orange.
red, yeah, white. I think,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
red, yellow, and white, because I had to back up something, yeah. So yeah, that was it. Or black, yellow, and white, because I already had red. So whatever was red, you just left. There was nothing. It's just,
Yeah.
and that's how we made those.
Yeah,
And like I said,
the flames always stood out to me. The
yeah,
flames
okay, yeah,
jumped.
and all like all that gold metal, the dragons on the front,
Yep.
and so it was funny when we did kind of a critique. I had those done, and I was very proud of them. And they printed one up, and it turned out glorious. It really did. And I did all kinds of crazy stuff, like little sparkles. Like, to make the sparkles, you had to cut the same sparkle through 3. It's hand cutting it. You have to cut it out of 3 layers, and they all have to match up. Or else there's like little threads or little edges on it, So to make
Yeah.
a white sparkle doesn't look like much, but it takes a lot to do. So for me, I was kind of like, and I knew those guys, they well know it took to make the little sparkle thing, right? That's right. I brought it. That's right. So that was the stuff that I was doing, because I wanted to get noticed. I was eager, man. I ambitious and eager. So so that's what I did, and we had to critique. And I remember somebody saying about the dragons on the front panel. They went, nice shiny leather chickens. And at first I was like, oh no, they're making fun of me. Oh my God, idiot! They're making fun of you. You're part of the group. Oh my God, dude, you're in. Oh my God, but it took me. Oh wait a minute, this is a good
Oh
thing.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so a very pivotal moment, and I'll bet if you ask any of them, they want what that happened, no, it happened, So and I remember those shiny leather chickens is what they called them. So cool, but so that was a good thing. I mean, so Paul trusted me with this game, and I remember when he before that I'd done Super Pac-Man and then Pac-Man Plus, and they were just headers, and those they just came with a board and the header. They were a conversion, and actually that was also part of the thing is they really didn't expect it to fly because it was a conversion and a spin-off.
Oh yeah.
So let the new guy do that. So, so when we got to Pac-Man Plus, which followed right on the heels of Super Pac-Man, they had faxed over the character for Super Pac-Man, and I had to re-illustrate it. And that's fine. And so we get to Pac-Man Plus, and I went into Paul's office, and I said, "So did they send over a Pac-Man character? Because Pac-Man to this day is not standardized. There's no standardized Pac-Man character. None of them have been standardized. That is crazy. That's probably the only. I don't know if it is, but it's probably the only character so widespread, and it is not standardized at all. How many? Think about it. There's like 20 or 30 different versions, right?
Yeah, he looks different all the
Yeah.
time. Yeah, he always did.
Yeah, crazy. So, I go to Paul's office and I said, "So did they send one over?" And he was doing something. He didn't even look up, and he goes, "Just make one up." Right. That was my response too. It was like, and he's a joker. You never knew when he was serious. You never knew when he was messing with you. So I'm like, okay, but really, kids, what's happening here? and he stopped and he looks up and he goes, "I want to tell you exactly what they told me. One up." Like, no kidding. Yeah, I just go crazy. All right. So I ran off and I did that and came back. And actually, the first one I had like a Mickey Mouse gloves and like little boots on them, And legal went out of their minds. Oh, the mouse is going to sue. We called Disney the mouse. The mouse is going to sue us. So had to go back and I changed those. And the conversion became known as the biker boot welding glove Pac-Man, because that's what kind of looking at welding gloves. If you look at Pac-Man Plus, you know. Uh, so a couple years later, Hanna-Barbera came along, and they needed a character for their Pac-Man Saturday morning cartoon. So they thought, let's just put a hat on Paul's character and call it a day, and that's exactly what they did.
Oh, he had the gloves. He had the gloves in there too. Yeah, I kind of remember that actually.
I didn't get any credit for that or anything, but if
they
you
took care.
Yeah, if you can compare the go look at the Hanna-Barbera Saturday morning cartoon, and go look at my Pac-Man Plus cartoon. Yeah. If they didn't even bother to, they didn't even try to change it. Could have made an effort, something. You just put a hat on them.
Yeah.
Hanna-Barbera. Oh, you fucked up Johnny Quest, and now you done this. Damn it. Oops. All right. Yeah, I did it that outside.
Do you think a lot? Do you think a lot of that? Do you think since it was easy to, like there was a lot of companies back then? Do you think it was like easy for people to do stuff like that, like without? Because nowadays I feel like if somebody would do that nowadays, they'd be on you like this. Like if somebody just took like a design or something from someone else, they'd be on it like this. Like back then, I feel like it was easier for people to just take shit.
Oh, so easy. Yeah. Okay. And as I mentioned earlier, the edict from the ivory tower was nobody signs their work, nobody gets any credit, nobody knows who does this artwork. Don't be sneaking your initials in there. Don't be writing down any signatures or anything. And I got to be honest, I didn't even think to do that until they forbade it. Okay, when they made it the forbidden fruit, that's all I wanted to do, and I snuck my signature in on each and every piece from that moment on, and boy, I caused a shitstorm. But Paul was 110% behind us. Here's the thing: he boldly signed all of his pieces because they needed him. They couldn't make a stink about that. So now we got a precedent. You know, Paul's got his signature on there, so we were sneaking all ours in. And like I said before, his position was just get sneakier. They're finding it.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was always, get credit where it's due. And like you said before, it was easy to steal stuff and help themselves. And in all honesty, they owned that. So it's not like they, like legally owed me any money or anything. It was like that. But okay, above and beyond that, it's just kind of a courtesy thing, a respect thing, maybe. Even just put my name in the credits as it rolls past and you barely read it, original character by Paul Niemeyer. And that's all it would have taken. But they'll never do that. They don't want to give credit where it's due. They don't want to. And yeah. Okay, it was like with Mortal Kombat too. Part of the problem with me in Mortal Kombat was that I was a freelancer. Here this freelancer just created the most valuable artwork the company's ever had. He doesn't work here, and he never did, and he has rights to it because he's a freelancer. That's a big problem. So that's what Well, it'd been when I called looking for my money, well, I didn't get paid either. By the way, I never got paid. So yeah, when I came looking for my money, I ended up with Ed Boon on the phone, and I started off soft. At this point, my inside guide kind of told me this is like December. It came out in October, and they only made 200 games. The first run was only 200 games. So I'm thinking, how do they know it's a huge success? Well, turns out that the cash boxes had so much cash in them that they were spilling over, and the quarters were shorting out the boards. the games went over. And that's how they found out that it was such a success, because no game had made that much money in that short a period of time. They didn't bother to check the cash boxes. How crazy is that? That's how they knew. Yeah. Okay, so now my inside guy is calling me up at home going, Paul, this thing's rocking. Remember the game they thought was going to be a flop? And they thought it was going to be a flop, by the way. So, anyway, he was, you got to get down here, man. This whole thing, they're building it, this whole thing on your artwork, your logo, your typeface, everything, the dragons. It's huge, And I said, oh, cool. I said, they haven't even paid me yet. I got so I use that as an excuse, and so I get Ed Boon on the phone, which I did not want, I just want to talk to somebody in accounting. That's it. I just wanted to, and so I started off soft, and I go, wow, who saw that coming? They thought it was going to be a big flop, and look at the huge success this thing is. It's amazing. I'm so glad I've been part of the team. And he cuts me off and he goes, you weren't part of the team. Real mean like that. Like, whoa.
Damn.
Oh, yeah. And that was just the start of it, And he said this, and this is when I remember the conversation. He said, that artwork will never cross over the threshold of the front door ever again. Okay. And then he said, I want to remind you that in your NDA, which they did not have, there was no NDA. They forgot to get one. Okay. So this is going to be interesting. The NDA I don't have, he's going to quote it. Let's hear this. Yeah, basically he said, if you show that game or associate yourself in any way, we will sue you into the stage. And those were the exact words. And I disappeared for 27 years, at least in regard to Mortal Kombat. I didn't disappear, but yeah, I didn't get any credit for any of that. Never got paid. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago I was accidentally rediscovered on that level, and boom, everything hit, 25, shows a year, overnight. Like my life just changed overnight, and then no more than I was on the road, showing us stuff. What do I get? I get cease and desist letters from Warner Brothers. After 27 years, you're still coming after me. Oh my God. And
And that was for the design of the logo? I'm sorry, that was just for like
yeah,
the artwork you did for the cabinet?
yeah, I was at a show in Milwaukee and they had me followed. And they had a couple of the guys because there were a bunch of Mortal Kombat. It wasn't just me, but I mean they had like Dan Pacina and Anthony Marquez and like they made life miserable for Anthony. Um, he had a logo. He's a musician. He's got this, rock band, and he put on a CD. And in the background there was a cast of a bogle. What do they call the bogle cast of the logo on the wall? Light projection on the wall.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was a picture on the inside of the stupid CD. And they came after him after that. And my thing was I had some leather vests that had embroidery, the logo embroidered on it, and apparently apparel is the sweetest plums. So they're gonna come after you if you're trying to sell some apparel. That was the straw that broke the lawyer's back apparently. So they came after me on that, and then I long story short, I put it online in Piston Moan, and a hard hitting IP firm in Chicago found me, and they came to me and said, "Hey, we'd like to represent you pro bono, and we'd love to have Warner Brothers head on our wall. How about we do that?" So for 2 years, secretly, couldn't tell anybody, even my wife couldn't tell her, nobody. We were banging heads with Warner Brothers. Never went into court or anything. It was more just the lawyers tossing curveballs at each other. And
Wow.
and in the end, I kind of won. And what I won, it wasn't really anything. It was literally to continue doing what I was doing unmolested. That was it. That was the whole thing. That's what it was all about. So it's kind of funny, when they represent you pro bono, they still have to tell you, like keep you informed of how much it would have cost.
Yeah.
So I get the bill all the time. It was kind of funny. Oh yeah, because after 2 years, it was like a little over $110,000. Okay. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Oh, and all of that was just Warner Brothers and them poking it.
Yeah.
Yeah, great fun.
So
Great fun when you don't have to pay for it.
So me and Roman could probably say we're both Mortal Kombat fans. I mean, you made one of the most memorable logos of a video game pretty much of all time. Do you hate Mortal Kombat because of how they treated you?
Oh, the opposite, man. Especially now, has this fantastic opportunity. Here's the thing too. Mortal Kombat isn't just those guys back then. It's all of that. And I've been on the road, with the Pacina brothers and Philip Ahn and Anthony Marquez and Liz and just everybody, all the originals. And the thing is, they all knew each other way back in the day. They all worked together. That I never knew any of them. They didn't know I existed. None of that. They kept everybody apart, and especially being a freelancer. I certainly. I was in the building probably a total of 45 minutes the entire project. So nobody knew who I was, and so here we are, 30 odd years later, and we're on the road, and we're appearing together, and we're having dinner, and we're having, we're getting to know each other, and we're becoming very close friends. And I have to say that they welcomed me into the group like the long lost brother that had now returned from the fold. Just I, I couldn't believe how incredibly welcoming they all were, and they were like, "Come on, brother, you're part of this whole thing," you know. And we have sat until wee hours in the morning, and with good whiskey, and told the tales of how we all came to that spot, and found out just exactly how badly they were screwing all of us at the same time. Well, here's the thing. I was kicked to the curb first, and then by Mortal Kombat 3, all the originals have been kicked to the curb too.
Yeah.
And then by Mortal Kombat 4, Ed had forced John Tobias out. So yeah, it was pretty cutthroat there, and but no, I don't have any resentment at all. I gotta tell you, like any resentment I would have had was in maybe that first year, and mostly it was just for not getting paid. And then I saw it becoming an empire, and then I was a little, bent out of shape. But at that point, maybe I hadn't had a whole lot of stuff stolen from me yet. I had a few pieces that had already been taken, so I was already a little bit like, "Oh, here we go again," but it happens, and you guys kind of wash your hands of it and just get over it. But unfortunately, this one there's no getting over this one, because this one just kept reinventing itself over and over and over, and became this huge global empire that I did not see. Nobody saw coming. Nobody, especially them. Especially them. Well,
Yeah.
oh yeah, the stupid things that management did during the production was just insane. We used to laugh and we say, they melt down idiots, pour them into suits, and they just call it management. Because that's what they were. It was almost like the opposite world. Do whatever they say, do the opposite.
Yeah.
All right. 200 games. That's what and that was all because they were negotiating with Jean-Claude Van Damme to be Johnny Cage, and it fell apart. So in their heads, it fell apart. They didn't see any kind of future for that game without Jean-Claude Van Damme on board. So they talked about it like that. They referred to it like that. I mean, I came in, it was halfway done, so I had to kind of play catch up, to do the artwork on the box. But it was weird. I'm telling you, there was just a manner of the way they spoke about it, as if kind of like, well, don't count on anything here, or we're in a big hurry to get it done, but we'll see how this goes. Maybe yeah, maybe no. And then and here's the thing: the production run was always the dead giveaway. So you look at the production run, it's 200 games. They have no faith in this game. They don't care about this game. We were mushrooms. They just cover us with shit and keep us in the dark.
Yeah. Can real quick, since we're on the subject of Mortal Kombat, can you? We briefly had a conversation about it at the Milwaukee Con when I met you, but can you talk about what led you to create the dragon design, and then also what they did when the whole lawsuit stuff happened? Because you told me, and you could see how the dragon design is in one direction, the one you made, and then after the first game they change it the opposite direction.
Yeah, it was facing left originally. On the very first game, it was facing left, and then for reasons unknown, it was facing right. But then again, after considering that they were trying to put as much distance between me and it as possible by threatening with a lawsuit and all of that. Here's the thing. At the time, none of this was important to me. The game companies weren't important to me. My main money was coming from the ad agencies on Michigan Ave. My billing for 3 weeks of work on Mortal Kombat was $2,800. I was making $2,800 a week at the ad agencies in 1992 money. So, not getting that money it wasn't like it was hurting me financially. I didn't care. and now this got like a possible lawsuit hanging over it. Oh, that's just a thorn in my side that I could easily forget about. I'm just walking away from this thing. So the annoyance was actually in seeing it become an empire that I had nothing to do with.
Oh, they freeze.
Got credit for,
Oh, no.
but it's in Congress, and now all hell's breaking loose because it's violent and it's horrible and it's turning our kids into assassins and meanwhile, I know we're laughing about it now, but it was goofy and crazy. And okay, we got hate mail for Pac-Man when I was working at Midway. Pac-Man, for Christ's sake, okay? Yeah, so yeah, and I don't mean a little, like buckets of the stuff. Okay, it was insane, just stupid. That's why Professor Pac-Man came along. It was a knee-jerk reaction to maybe they'll learn something along the way. No, that's another story.
Wow.
Yeah. So okay. Now I got off. I don't remember what I was saying. Damn it. Oh well.
We're good. Roman, you got something?
No, I just what other titles did you do work on before Mortal Kombat? Were you a part of any of the Tron games? Just curious, since
Yeah.
you worked.
Yeah. That was my first. My first game was Tron.
Tron?
I just got hired, and boy, the hunt over, and I found myself cutting all the color separations for the Tron game, and then I
Oh,
worked with
okay.
Doug Watson on discs of Tron, and
Oh, I
then
love that game. Yeah, I love that's one of my
yeah,
favorites too. You actually did the overlay that's on the game itself. You made that?
no, oh no, I just did the color separations. I mean, I was literally the new guy in the in the art department. So you're getting the grunt jobs, and right? Yeah. Well,
Oh
that
yeah,
was.
that's
Well, I just figured I'll do a kick-ass job of the grunt job and hopefully get noticed. That was
yeah.
always my plan, just trying to get noticed. So do the best you can. So I poured myself into it, stayed late, and I watched everybody, made sure I figured out how to do it. And when I got done with it, I remember Paul Ferris came and took a look at it, and he went, "Well, good job." He said, it's. I was thinking as you're doing this is probably one of the hardest color separations you'll probably ever do. I'm thinking to myself, it was my first one. Thank God I didn't know that before I started it. I slipped my wrist. Thank God.
Were you around when because I had read that when the Tron game came out, they put that game out to prep for the movie to be released. So was there like an intertwine of like the promo for all that, like that you were around like for the movie and the game together?
Um, okay, that's a great question, and you're almost right on it. Almost. What was happening is when they came to us, uh, they the thing was, we've got this movie. It's Tron. We want the audience to come out of the theater and play the game in the lobby. We want it in the lobby, so they both have to come out simultaneously. Something had never been done before. They didn't want to introduce the game first because that would just be a big reveal, and that would screw everything. No, they really wanted all to be a big surprise. So much of a surprise that they didn't bother to tell us anything. I mean, he sent all these images over, and we're supposed to be working on them, and we're putting them together on the game, and it was pretty much just nuts and bolts. We're following Disney's, directive. They spoon fed us everything, you know. But I mean, I kind of cut my teeth on doing those games, and I learned a lot about mostly the nuts and bolts of it all. So anyway, we're doing all this stuff, and we really don't know what we're doing or what we're dealing with or who these characters are or any of it. And it's like the second day, and Paul Ferris comes in. Here's how little we knew about it. Paul Ferris comes in. He goes, "His name is Tron." Because nobody knew what the hell's a Tron, and nobody wanted to ask. There was an idiot that didn't know what a Tron was. because the cool kids must know what a Tron was, and I'm not one of the cool kids, so I'm not going to ask because then I won't look like one of the cool kids, right? So nobody asked. So for 2 days, we were like, I don't know what a Tron is. I'm not going to ask. That's for damn sure. His name. It's his name. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. And I'm guessing it's the guy that's holding the thing over his head. That's him. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. You think I'm joking? I'm not. They didn't tell us anything. They wanted to keep it all so secret. Yeah, it's a secret. Even from us. Hey, aren't we on the same team? No. And that was my first time working with Disney. I worked with Disney probably dozens of times after that, and it didn't get any better. It's the same crap, you know. You don't shut up, you. Quit asking questions, you. Okay. I worked on commercially. I worked on a lot of stuff for Disney. I worked on a project for a year and a half, almost 2 years, called Golden Ball. And Golden Ball was a chocolate ball, big ball, and it was covered in gold foil. And on the inside, it would have like some, gooey, nougaty stuff. And then if they were promoting Jurassic Park 2, it would have like a white chocolate dinosaur skeleton inside the egg. There was a Michael Jordan thing where there was like a chocolate shoe on the inside of the I swear to God. So I would design all these goofy stuff, and I'm just a lot. I designed a lot of stuff for Golden Ball, tons and tons of stuff, movie promos for all kinds of movies and stuff, and but I never saw it anywhere. And they're paying big bucks, and it's at one of the top ad agencies, and it was one of my regular clients, so this is just the regular stuff, but still, where's all this stuff going, And so I finally found out I was huge in Europe.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So apparently, apparently they had test marketed it, in Europe. In America, people were like, they bust, what the hell's this shit all goo dripping all over the place? Whose idea? You're trying to be funny? Right? That's the American audience. German audience, das ist wunderbar, das ist gut. Und look at the skeleton, too. So wunderbar. And there you go. 2 different mindsets, and the one was a huge success. They couldn't sell enough Golden Balls in Europe, and nobody cared. Nobody cared here.
So there could be a random Paul Niemeyer fucking shrine statue in Europe, and
Oh yeah,
you don't even know.
There might be a shrine outside of a pub in Switzerland that I was a ski bum for a long time. I skied in Switzerland. I did. Yeah, there's probably places in Switzerland I was not allowed to come back to. Well, back in the 80s, I should have come with a warning label. I was trouble with skis on, man. I was definitely trouble. You give a young guy a bunch of money and and some skis and a lot of time, and I can get a lot of trouble. That's for sure. Expensive trouble, but trouble nonetheless.
What would you say your favorite type of art media is now? I know you talked about doing a lot of sculpture when we first started talking to you. Is that like your favorite type of media to do now?
No, not even. It is so freaking messy. And I'm sculpting in foam, in a expanded polystyrene EPS foam, and it's that little kernel stuff. It's like glitter. Okay, you ever done a glitter project? Got kids? You do a glitter project. You wet that glitter for when you move from that house. Oh, there's more glitter. Yeah. Okay, foam is like glitter, right? It's horrible. When I'm doing stuff, I know the wife is she just rolling her eyes, thinking we're making money. I can look past the foam. We're just making money, because my studio's down in the basement. I lost my studio space. I got a basement, so I kind of cordoned off a little section off, and we're empty nesters now. My son moved out, so we got the room to do this. So yeah, but I get to answer your question. I have to be doing a lot of different stuff, or I just go nuts. If I had to sculpt every day, I'd be miserable. If I had to do just cartoons every day, I'd be miserable. If I had to paint, or do a cover of a book, or packaging for a video game. If I had to do only that, well, if it paid decent, maybe I wouldn't be so tired of that after a while. But anyway. See, that's the thing. That's the problem. Those projects were all the fun projects. They didn't pay for squat, but they were fun to do. When I worked at the ad agencies, sure, they were making millions off of us, but they were throwing tens of thousands of dollars at us. They knew that they had to keep the wheels greased. The art had to keep churning it out, man. We were more than willing to do it. They're paying us tens of thousands of dollars to churn out this artwork. Heck yeah, you better believe it. If we had to stay late, they would they'd buy us dinner. You want sushi? We got a refrigerator full of craft beers. You can go out on the porch and smoke a joint, do whatever you want. We used to laugh and say, if they thought that the artwork could get done faster, they'd get us blowing hookers. Okay, they would. I swear, if they thought if the artwork was getting done faster, yep. So the complete different mentality. And then meanwhile, the game company, they'd rather steal the damn artwork than pay for it. and so you see, it's like, okay, I'm not making any money over here at the game, and I got nothing but great respect for all my fellow game meisters out there who have made a career out of it. I don't know how. I really don't. Man, unbelievable. It's a lot of work. And not always good pay. So
yeah. I know we don't want to keep you too much longer, but The Abyss, I didn't ever go to that. But are you a horror fan? Is that what made you? I mean, or
always, yeah, I always was, even as a kid. And it was kind of weird growing up in a real conservative, ultra Christian. They had definite, weird things about Halloween. And I suppose the devil's holiday is okay. But I grew up on a farm, and we had an old spooky barn, and I used to try and haunt it for my friends, and it was just kind of a childhood dream to have a haunted house. You hear my dog's going crazy. Hold on, I gotta open the door. He's just gonna go out of his mind.
yeah. Roman, you got one more final question for him when he comes back? Well, yeah, Roman, you got a last question for Paul?
Well, it's not really a question, but I just wanted to kind of let you know that just that design alone of the dragon was so inspirational. I remember I'm an artist myself too, and I've always loved drawing my whole life. And I remember trying to draw that logo and draw that design and stuff, just freehand it, to see how straight I could get it and stuff like that years ago. And I just picked up a pencil maybe a few months back and I drew this picture. And it's like your opinion on it. Just kind of nothing super crazy, but it's kind of reminiscent of the style of the dragon that in a way. Yeah, it's just color pencil, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's all. Hey, I love color pencil. Color pencil's fantastic. Yeah, I love color pencil. That's fantastic. Nice job.
Thank you. I just wanted your opinion on that.
Thanks. Thanks for showing it. That's awesome.
Those things always inspired me. So.
Oh, thanks, man. See that I live for that. I really do. That's what makes all this I'm gonna finish answering your earlier question. You said, "Oh, do you resent that?" Not a bit, because I get to come out and now I'm having these conversations with everybody. Like, okay, we talked to Milwaukee, and I get to hear everybody's story, and they come and tell me how much it meant to them, and how much And here's the thing: people all they connect over the game. And I didn't know that. And I'm really finding that out more than anything. And every show I go to, I hear people come up and they say, wow, my dad and I really weren't getting along, and there was this gap. And all of a sudden one day I'm playing the game and he came over, sat down, and boy, we were just the best of buds after that. And then right then his dad will walk up and go, "You bet, we sure are. I was glad to meet you and thank you for doing all this." And I'm like, who knew? Who knew that was coming out of that?
Yeah.
What a bonus. So for me, going out and doing these shows, that's being paid.
That's awesome.
Now I'm being paid and in a currency that they can never take away from me. So yeah, I'm not resentful, and I mean, like way back in the day I was. And then we were talking about everything in Congress. When I was working at the ad agencies, they were so afraid that the First Amendment rights were going to be, crushed. Watching what was going on, and so that was their thing. Is okay. First it's games. They're going to put censorship on games, and then they're going to come after advertising, and they saw their heads on the chopping block. So I kept my big mouth shut. Nobody knew that I was the Mortal Kombat guy. The last thing I wanted to do was say that. So I kind of censored myself as a little bit of a self-preservation. At that point, I had lost maybe an account or two over something really stupid. Like there was a wrong information on a check they made, and I came back to get it, and it irked them, and I never got any work out of them again. It's stupid, but it happens, So you don't, so you don't push the envelope too much. And when that was happening, I thought, well, this is a little edgy. I don't need to be, to throw down, and it could have gone like, "Oh, way to go, Paul! You're fighting for the good fight," or it could have gone, "You're part of that, are you?"
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to find out either one. So I also kind of pulled away, but so like 2 years into it, no, I wasn't resentful because I kind of had myself to blame for walking away from it too. But initially they were the ones that kicked me to the curb, so it wasn't like I really had much of a chance of coming back. Let's face it. But again, the thing there too is I had to be a little more zen and just release to the universe, man, release. Because as it turns out, that was hardly the first time that I got artwork stolen from me and used. I've been in like 5 or 6 lawsuits over artwork over the years, so that certainly wasn't the first time that's ever happened. I guess it's kind of a compliment,
In a way, yeah, I could see that.
It's a little backhanded compliment, but boy, they love your artwork so much, they're stealing it again and again.
Yeah.
You lucky bastard, you. Go on. You're just saying that.
Before we let you out of here, it's funny. When I initially said that I had met you at the Milwaukee Con, my homies, I'm actually I do music on the side, like hip hop, and
Awesome.
and I'm friends with, and they posted a picture. They're like, "That's our guy," and my homies, the Microphone Misfits. I knew
you were going to say that. I knew you were saying Microphone Misfits. I love those guys. I absolutely love them. Oh my God, you know them?
Yeah, those are the homies.
Yeah, they are so cool. They're the coolest guys. We met in the Baltimore airport. I was coming back from a show. I think RisuCon I was coming back from, and they had done a hip hop show in town, and our flights got delayed, and we were all kind of hustling, looking for a seat, and there was like just one seat left, and they're like, and I'm standing there looking around, and they're going, "Dude," So I took the one seat, and I looked. I immediately, you can see there's like this cohesive kind of bond. Like if you know them, you know what I'm talking about. Like you can. I could have sat. I sat there in that whole terminal, and I picked here's the band, bum, 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 and bump. I went, yeah, how'd you know that? I'm sensing it, man. I'm like getting this vibe from you dudes. So we hit it off immediately, and we had about 2 hours kick it and before we got on the plane. So it was great hanging out with those guys, and I've done a show with them that was awesome. That was a lot of fun being on stage with them. God, that's great. Microphone Misfits. I knew you were going to say that when you said hip hop. I'm going, hey, I know.
Yeah, those are the homies, man. I actually booked a small tour run for them that we did together. And Roman, you know what's crazy about Microphone Misfits is there. So me and Roman are actually planning to go to the Midwest Gaming Classic that's coming up in Milwaukee, and
I'll be there. Either.
And Microphone Misfits are playing that.
Excellent.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's even better yet. Oh man,
yeah.
You're making my day. You're making my day to know that they are going to be there. Yes. I love those guys. I really do. And the thing about them, they were just so they're so welcoming to me. You kind of sat down and all of a sudden we're hanging out and we're part of the crew, and boy, I felt so comfortable with them. It was just so much fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's great, man. That's great news. I'm loving it. Cool. Very excited about it.
Roman, you got one last thing before we do the outro?
This will be the fourth one last thing, man.
I think that's all I got. It was an honor to meet you, Paul.
This is like a Midwest goodbye. This is a Midwest goodbye. All right, now we're gonna take pictures. People made brownies. Hold on. Yeah.
Well, Paul, I appreciate you being a part of the show, man. And
Thanks, man.
I'll definitely get some clips together and
very cool.
Get the promo and all that. And apparently, I'm going to see you at the Midwest Gaming Classic now.
You definitely will.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, man. So yeah, everyone out there, this has been an episode with Paul Niemeyer of legendary artwork that a lot of y'all probably would know. And this has been Crack the Code. Denku, Roman, Paul, we appreciate you. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Peace out, my brothers.
All right, man.
Thank you.